Tonight, at exactly 3:33 in the morning, a phone is going to ring. And when the man answers it, half asleep, annoyed, expecting a wrong number, he's going to hear a voice he knows better than any voice on earth. His own, calling from the life he didn't choose. Stay with me, because before this story is over, I'm going to ask you whether you'd answer that phone. And I want you to be honest. Daniel was 41, and by every reasonable measurement, his life was fine. Fine job. He assessed insurance claims, which meant he spent his days putting a price on other people's disasters. Fine apartment, fine routines, gym on Tuesdays, groceries on Sundays, a dating app he opened and closed like a refrigerator, never finding what he was hungry for. If you asked Daniel how he was doing, he'd say, "Can't complain," which, if you listen carefully, is one of the saddest sentences in the English language. Because it doesn't mean, "I'm happy." It means, "I've stopped asking." But there was one thing Daniel never talked about. A fork in the road 16 years back. Her name was June. She painted murals and laughed at her own jokes before finishing them. She'd asked him, 25 years old, both of them broke and burning, to move to Lisbon with her. She had a friend with a spare room and a theory that life rewards the people who leap. Daniel had just gotten his first real job offer, benefits, a ladder to climb. He remembers exactly where he was standing when he said, "I can't. It's not realistic." He remembers June nodding slowly, the way people nod when they're watching a door close. She went, he stayed. And for 16 years, on nights when the apartment was too quiet, Daniel would lie in bed and feel it, that other life running parallel to his, just on the other side of some invisible wall. Close enough to sense, never close enough to see. Until the phone rang. 3:33 in the morning. An unknown number. Daniel answered with the gravel voice of the barely conscious. "Hello?" A pause. Wind somewhere. Gulls, maybe. Then, "Okay. Okay. It actually worked. Don't hang up. Please." Daniel sat up, because you know your own voice. Not the voice on recordings, the one that lives in your bones. And this was it. His exact pitch, his exact rhythm, even the little click he made with his tongue when he was nervous. "Who is this?" "You know who this is. I'm you, the one who got on the plane." Daniel did not believe it. You wouldn't either. He demanded proof, and the voice gave it. Things no one alive could know. The thing he whispered at his mother's hospital bed when the room was empty. The name of the dog he'd invented as a lonely 7-year-old. The real reason he didn't go to his college reunion. Then the voice said the thing that ended all argument. Ask me what Lisbon smells like in the morning." And Daniel, hating himself, hungry in a way he hadn't let himself feel in years, asked, "Orange trees, and the ocean, and bread from the bakery downstairs. June still burns the coffee. 16 years, and she still burns the coffee. June still." 2 words, and the invisible wall between the lives went thin as paper. The calls came every night after that. Always 3:33. Always a few minutes only. The connection, the other Daniel explained, was fragile, like a radio signal that only aligned in the folds of deep night. He never explained how it was possible. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe some doors don't come with instructions. And Daniel began to live for those minutes. He learned about the wedding on a cliff in the Azores. The 2 kids, a girl who painted like her mother, a boy who argued like his father. The small gallery they ran, the money problems. Sure, the voice admitted those, but even the problems sounded warm. Problems with people in them. Daniel started structuring his days around the calls. He went to bed at 9, just to be sharp at 3:33. He stopped going to the gym, canceled plans. At work, pricing other people's disasters, he'd catch himself smiling about a life that was not his. A daughter's school play he hadn't attended, in a country he'd never seen. Here's the thing. Psychologists know about counterfactual thinking. The mind's habit of simulating the road not taken. In small doses, it's how we learn. But there's a version of it that turns predatory. The comparison stops teaching you and starts feeding on you. You become a tourist in an imaginary life, and every visit makes the real one look grayer. Daniel wasn't living anymore. He was listening. Then, one night in March, the call was different. The other Daniel's voice was low, careful, and he asked a question of his own. The first one, Daniel realized, in weeks of calls. "Tell me about the quiet." "The what?" "Your apartment, Sunday mornings. What's it like to wake up and have the whole day belong to only you?" Daniel laughed, one dry note. "It's nothing. It's silence and grocery lists." "Describe the silence." And something in the way he said it, hungry, leaning in, made Daniel's stomach drop. Because he recognized that hunger. It was his hunger. The exact tone he used when he asked about orange trees. "Wait," Daniel said slowly. "Why are you calling me?" Gulls again. Then, quietly, "Why do you think?" "The gallery's drowning. The kids need things I can't afford." June and I fight about money in whispers so they won't hear. And some nights I lie awake and think about the version of me who took the job, the one with savings, with room to breathe, with a door he can close. A breath. I found a way to call the road not taken. Same as you. I thought your grass would be greener. Daniel sat in the dark with the phone against his ear, and the whole architecture of the past 3 months collapsed at once. There was no better Daniel, and worse Daniel. There were just 2 men on 2 sides of one old decision, each pressing his ear against the wall of his own life, each convinced the music was coming from the other room. "So, which of us chose right?" Daniel finally asked. And his other self gave the only honest answer there is. Neither. Both. I don't think choices work the way we think. I think every road you take, you pay with the roads you don't. I have the orange trees and no silence. You have the silence and no orange trees. The only real difference between us, the signal crackled, is that one of us is going to hang up this phone and finally live the life he's actually in. The line went dead. The next night, Daniel lay awake at 3:32, watching the phone on his nightstand. 3:33, it rang. The screen glowed in the dark. Patient, insistent, unknown number. The other life calling. The orange trees calling. 16 years of what if calling. Daniel looked at it for a long time, and then he did the bravest thing he'd ever done. Braver than a plane ticket. Braver than a cliff-top wedding. He let it ring. It rang 4 times, 5, 6, and then stopped. And in the silence that followed, Daniel noticed something he hadn't noticed in years. The sound of his own apartment. The hum of the refrigerator. Rain starting against the window. A life, small, unfinished, his, sitting there like an unread letter he'd been carrying around for 16 years. The phone never rang again. To this day, he doesn't know if it was real. A crossed wire between worlds. A dream that repeated, or just the loneliest part of his own mind, doing the only thing it knew to get his attention. But here's what I can tell you. That spring, Daniel used his vacation days for the first time in 4 years. He went somewhere he'd never been. Not Lisbon. That road belonged to another man now. And he'd made his peace with that. And on his last morning there, at a cafe by the water, he smelled it on the breeze, completely by accident. Orange trees. He sat with it. He let it ache. And then he ordered another coffee and didn't burn it, and watched his one single, unrepeatable life go by, smiling this time at the right window. So, now it's your turn, like I promised. Somewhere in your past there's a fork, a person, a city, a leap you didn't take. And on quiet nights, you press your ear against that wall, don't you? We all do. It's the most human thing there is, grieving people we never became. But here's the thought I want you to fall asleep on. If the road not taken could call you at 3:33 tonight, it might not be calling to show off. It might be calling to ask about your silence, your Sunday mornings, the ordinary life you've stopped noticing, that some other version of you lies awake, aching for. The phone is ringing. You don't have to answer it. Sleep well, and I'll see you tomorrow night.